Hi, welcome to Virtual CB1A. For today's video discussion, we're going to talk about the law of cosines. So why is it important that we study the law of cosine? So sometimes may mga given na general triangle na ang mga given elements ay hindi kayang hanapin ng law of sines. So for such cases, we are going to opt with the law of cosine. So ano ang mga importanteng formula or ano yung mga formula under ng law of cosine? Si law of sines sobrang daling i-memorize, 'di ba? Si law of cosines medyo mas mahaba siya, but I will give you a tip on how you can remember it better. If you still remember, from our preliminary lessons, inaral natin ang Pythagorean theorem, right? And it states that the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the square or the sum of the squares of its legs. Again, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of its two legs. So, kung meron ka daw right triangle ABC, ayan, A, B, C, ito yung right triangle, you can find the measurement of any of the sides given that the two other sides are given. If C is your hypotenuse, then C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared lang. Tapos, syempre, kung ang nawawala ay yung leg, any one of the two legs, ano lang siya? For example, A squared is equal to C squared minus B squared. O kaya B squared is equal to C squared minus A squared through algebraic manipulations lang. Now, paano pag general triangle na, tapos gagamitan mo na siya ng law of cosines? Hindi na magwo-work si Pythagorean theorem because you don't have a right angle. Hindi mo ma-identify kung sino si hypotenuse. So, you will refer to each of the three sides as A, B, and C na lang. Halimbawa, ito yung general triangle natin. This is A, this is B, this is C. Wala tayong special na hypotenuse kahit na visually alam natin kung sino yung longest kasi nakadepende siya sa kung sino ang opposite ng right angle. Right? So, kung meron kang general triangle, wala na tayong C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared at saka A squared is equal to C squared minus B squared. Pantay-pantay na lang sila. Lahat lang sila ay titingnan mo as legs. So, if you are looking for the value of A, you can say na ang nawawala ay si side A. So, A squared is equal to the sum of the squares of the two other sides. We have B and C. So, equal siya sa sum ng B squared at saka C squared. Minus the product of 2 times the two other sides. So, meron tayong 2BC times cosine of the angle opposite it. The angle opposite A is angle A. So, cosine A. Ganun din pag ang nawawala ay si B. So, B squared is equal to the square of the other leg. So, meron tayong A squared plus the square of the other leg pa ulit. So, meron tayong C squared minus the product of 2 times the two other legs, AC. May pattern tayo Cosine, the angle opposite it. So, the angle opposite B is angle B. Yan. So, anong titingnan? Tingnan nyo yung pattern. Kung ito ay B, ang kukunan nyo ng square, yung two other sides, ay di BC. Minus 2 times yung dalawang side ulit, BC. Cosine, kung ano yung opposite nung given na side. Or nawawalang side, A squared. Ganon din sa C. So, kung si C squared yung hinahanap natin, we are going to square the two other legs, B squared, at saka a squared, alphabetize natin siya, a squared plus b squared minus 2 times yung product ng dalawang legs, AB, cosine, angle opposite it, C. Ang opposite ni side C ay angle C. So, ito yung tatlong formula natin for the law of cosines. So, punta tayo dun sa example. Yan. Meron tayong case 3. We have two sides and the angle between them. If you still remember the law of sines, ba't binabanggit ko si law of sines? Law of cosines na tayo. Just so you know why we cannot apply the law of sines in this given example. So, according to the law of sines, the ratio of A over sine A is equal to the ratio of B over sine B, which is also equal to C over sine C. Kung isa-substitute natin sila, we are going to have A. Nawawala si A, di ba? A over sine A, 30. And then si B, given si B side, nawawala si angle B, so sine B. Si C ay 5, nawawala si angle C. Ayan. Wala kang mapipili na pairing that will give you just one unknown. If you choose this pairing, paano mo hahanapin si A at si B simultaneously? You have two unknowns for every pairing. Hindi yun pwede. Kasi kapag ka naghahanap ka ng nawawalang variable, isang unknown lang dapat siya. Kasi kung dalawa silang sabay mo hahanapin, hindi mo yun kaya. Kahit anong pairing yung gamitin mo, kahit ito, nawawala naman si angle B tsaka si angle C simultaneously. Hindi mo rin siya pwedeng gamitin. Paano kung ito at saka ito? So, ang nawawala ay si side A at saka si angle C. Hindi rin siya mag-work. So, if you are going to use law of sines for this particular problem, you will always end up with two unknowns for every pairing. That will make it impossible to find a solution using law of sines. Okay? Okay. Ngayon, gamitin natin si law of cosines. I suggest that you prepare your scientific calculator because we are going to find some trigonometric function values ulit. Okay. Analyze natin kung ano yung mga given at saka kung ano yung mga nawawala. So, si angle A ay given, pero si side A ay nawawala. Si side B ay 4, si side C ay 5. Ang angle A ay 30 degrees, ang angle B ay nawawala, at si angle C ay nawawala rin. Masyado maliit, palakihin natin. Ayan. So, ano yung pwede natin gamitin from the law of cosines? So, we can use the first formula wherein a squared is in the left-hand side of the equation. Since B and C are given and angle A is also given, or the angle opposite our missing side. B squared plus C squared, sulat ko muna dito yung formula, 2BC cosine A. Medyo mahaba siya, pero through practice, makakabisado niyo yan. I trust in you. So, A squared, nawawala. B squared, may value. 4 squared, substitute tayo. C, 5 siya. So, 5 squared minus 2. BC, 4 times 5. Cosine 30 degrees. O, ilang beses na natin kinuha yung trigonometric function values ng mga special angles, ha? 30, 45, 60, 90, 180. Dapat kabisado nyo na yan. Kung hindi pa, kay bala. May scientific calculator naman. Allowed naman yan sa LET. So, i-best friend nyo yung scientific calculator nyo kung hindi nyo siya makabisado. Okay, we have A squared. Simplify natin. 4 squared is 16. 5 squared is 25. minus 2 times 4 times 5. 2 times 4 is 8 times 5 is 40. And then we have cosine 30 degrees. Okay. Now, let's continue. We have a squared is equal to 16 plus 25. What is 16 plus 25? That is equal to 41 minus 40. Ano ang cosine? 30. So, sabi ko nga, dapat kabisado nyo na siya. If not, get your scientific calculator and you will find out that this is equal to square root of 3 over 2. I also taught you how to use the idea of equilateral triangles in finding the trigonometric function values of 30 and 60. So, kaya nyo itong hanapin ng mano-mano kahit wala kayong scientific calculator. I prefer to use the exact value, square root of 3 over 2, pag nasa loob tayo ng computation natin. So, a squared is equal to, I think I will opt to show you the calculation para hindi kayo basta nakikinig lang. So, just give me a moment. Okay, and now we're back. As you can see here, I have our Desmos Scientific Calculator ulit. And as I've said, mas gusto ko na exact value yung ibinibigay na or isinasubstitute na mga values as much as possible so that your final answer will be at its closest possible dun sa tamang sagot. So, um, dito pa lang, pwede mo ng ano eh, dito pa lang pwede ka nang diretso ng calculate. So, pakita ko sa inyo kung paano siya ginagawa. So, we have here 4 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 4 times 5 cosine 30. So, make sure na nakadegree yung calculator nyo. So, sa calculator nyo, pwedeng diretso ng ganito. So, ito be equal to 6.3589 or 6.3590. So, lagay natin dito, a squared is equal to, approximately equal to 6.3590. So, lagay natin dito ay approximated value lang kasi hindi pa siya exact value. May mga kasunod pa siya dyan, 89, 838, 849. And also, you can use this function. Mag-square root kayo and then use the function for answer. You will end up with 2.5217. So, paano nangyari yun? Since here, the given is a squared, in order for us to get the value of a, you have to get the square root of both sides. So, you will end up with 2.5217. 2.5217. Kung feeling nyo, sinisipag kayo, pwedeng imano-mano nyo siya. 4 squared, 16. 5 squared, 25. 2 times 4 times 5, 40. Cosine 30, cosine 30. And then 41, 16 plus 25. 40 times cosine 30, 40 times square root of 3 over 2. And then, you will end up with 6.3590. Get the square root. So, learn to use your calculators well para hindi kayo laging mahaba yung solution. Okay? So, lagi niyong aralin kung paano ginagamit si calculator. Yun lang yun. Pag naaral niya ng maigi, napakarami yung items na kayang sagutin sa let ng napakabilis na oras. Promise. Most of the items sa let, pwede siyang i-calculator eh. During my time ha, at least. So, napakalaking tulong ng calculator sa pagkuha ng lisensya pag math major. So, please, aralin nyo yung maigi. Okay, since meron na tayong value ng A, hanapin na lang natin ay si B at saka si C. This is already found out to be 2.5217. Okay na tayo dito. Si B at si C na lang. Kung ako yung magsasagot nito, magsho-shortcut ako. Maglo-law of sines na lang ako. Para simple lang yung magiging sagot. Kasi meron na akong A, meron na akong side A, meron na akong angle A. Meron akong side B, nawawala si angle B. Ang dali nang hanapin. But for the sake of showing you how it is done using the law of cosine yung gagamitin natin. Later on, if we still have the time, I will show you how it will be done if we are going to use the law of sines after using the law of cosines. Ayun, matuto rin kayo mag-analyze para mabilis kayong makakuha ng tamang sagot. Again, okay, hinahanap natin dito ay si angle B. So, gamitin naman natin si B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine opposite which is B. Ayan. Baka magtanong, ma'am, bakit ganon? Meron naman akong B squared. Ba't ito yung gagamitin ko? So, we are looking for angle B. And from out of the three given formula, yung pangalawang formula lang, yung merong angle na B na involved. So, ito yung gagamitin natin. And through properties in algebra, mahanap natin si angle B. Since we only have one unknown for this whole equation. So, dito si b squared. Substitute natin. Meron tayong 4 squared, which is equal to a squared. Ang a natin, alam na natin siya kanina na 2.5217 or 6.3590. Pero lagay ko na lang muna dito ay 2.5217 plus c. Si c ay 5. So, 5 squared minus 2 times A. May square dito ha. 2.5217 times 5. Tapos saka pa lang si cosine B. Yan. So, if you will take notice, isa lang ang nawawalang element. Angle B lang. So, pwede tayong addition property of equality at saka multiplication of equality in solving this problem to get the value of B. So, let's proceed with the next step. We have here 16. And as I've mentioned earlier, super tamad ako. So, dito, shortcutin na natin siya. Yan. So, meron tayong 2.5217. Or ito yon yung answer kanina. So, I will just input here answer, which is 2.521702.569. I am closer to the exact value by doing this. And then, I will square it. So, meron na tayong a squared plus 5. So, meron tayong 5 squared. Ayan. This is equal to 31.35898385 or, lagay ko na lang dito, 31.3590. 3590. Minus, ito. Ito yon yung kanina. So, 2 times 2.5217 times 5. Ayan. So, delete ko lang to. Kasi kailangan ko pa rin ng answer. Ito. Pero instead of this, I will use 2 times the answer. 2 times the answer times 5, which is 25.21702569 or 21 point ayun ba 25.2170 25.2170 cosine B. So, ano susunod na gagawin? We are going to make use of addition property of equality at saka multiplication property of equality. So, dito, we have to get rid of 31.3590 on the right side. Dapat, ang matitira na lang sa right side ay si cosine B. So, unahin natin tanggalin si 31.3590 by subtracting 31.3590 from both sides. So, 0 na siya dito sa kabila. Matitira na lang ay 25.2170 cosine B. Okay? So, solve natin siya. We have nasaan ako kanina? Oops! Ano to? Lagay ako ng panibago. 16 minus 31.3590 ano ba to? 31.3590 is negative 15.359. Which is equal to negative 25.2170 cosine B. So, ang may kalapit si cosine B, which is negative 25.2170. So, we have to use multiplication property of equality and divide both sides by the coefficient of cosine B, which is ito nga, negative 25. So, divide natin siya. Negative 25.2170 both sides. Do not forget the negative sign, ha? Nako, napaka-importante niyan sa trigonometric function values. Pag nakalimutan niyo yung sign niyo, since pwede siyang mapunta sa iba't ibang quadrant, pwedeng maiba yung angle na makukuha nyo. Di ba pagka mga angles na nakaplot sa quadrant, pagka parehas sila ng reference angle, parehas din sila ng trigonometric function value. So, you have to be careful with the signs. Ayan. So, we have here negative 15.3590. I-divide natin siya. So, lagay tayo dito. Ayan. Answer. 15.359. I-divide natin siya by negative 25.217T. Ayan. 217 or 2170. You are going to end up with 0.6091. 0.6091. And it is approximately equal to cosine B. Tapos na ba tayo? Hindi pa. Kasi ang hinahanap natin ay si B, hindi si cosine B. So, we are going to make use of the trigonometric function arc cosine. So, arc cosine of negative 0.6091 will give us the value of angle B. Lapit na tayo matapos. So, lagay ako dito ng panibagong line. Wait lang tayo. Medyo naglalag siya. Ayun, lumabas na. So, arc sine. So, dito tayo sa functions. Dun sa mga calculator nyo, naka-shift lang yan. So, arc cosine. Tapos yung answer natin kanina. Arc cosine of answer. Ha? Ba't ako dito may ano? 2,170. Teka nga. Clear ko lang siya. Ayan. Arc cosine of 0.609073 is about 52.4775. So, 52 point, ay, 4775 is equal to angle B. So, yan. Meron na tayong angle B. Ang nawawala na lang ay angle C. Paano natin yun makukuha? Diyos ko, napakadali na. Hindi nyo na kailangan mag-law of cosines ulit. Kasi ang nawawala ay isa na lang ding angle. We know that the sum of all the interior angles of a triangle is equal to 180, right? So, if you have here B, which is equal to 52.4775, kunin mo na lang yung sum ng 30 at saka ng 52.4775, isubtract mo from 180, you will end up with C. So, try natin. At ganito. Clear all na natin siya. We have 180 minus 30 minus ulit nito 52.4775. You will end up with 97.5225. Yun si C. We have here 97.5225. Yun si C. Okay? So, this is how you find the missing elements of a general triangle with two sides and the angle between them given. Okay? Okay. So, sabi ko kanina, may shorter method, 'di ba? Kung ayaw nyo na ganito kahaba, pwedeng ano na lang, law of sines na lang after nyo mag-law of cosine. So, gusto ko rin siya ipakita since, may time pa ba? Ayan, may time pa naman tayo, konti. So, I am going to copy this whole sheet and then we are going to find the value of angle B using law of sines after employing the law of cosines.